Hey everybody, hope another one of my videos about my exposure and response prevention process that I do to help me treat my choking phobia. Today I actually wasn't going to make the video because I told you in my original videos that I actually make videos um, weekdays, and on the weekends I actually don't make videos. What I realized is I'm actually having so much fun making these videos that I've decided to actually make them every day. I find them to help me track my thoughts, my anxiety. So I'm gonna just. I was actually already finished eating most of my food I was gonna eat today because I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna do it because I've been making too many." But I realized halfway through I'm doing a lot of things I shouldn't be doing. So when you're on videotape, you're kind of, holding yourself. I'm not sure. Like I would just feel like, oh, I would look at my phone more often, or I would, you know, do things mentally that are more comforting that I don't really want to do, religious things. When someone with OCPD, they need to clearly differentiate their religion from their anxiety, from their mental illness, from what they really feel and believe. So it was really tough eating, and then I realized, screw it, let's just document it, right? Like why not make a video every day? It really helps with OCPD also to have like something to look forward to do every day, the list, the order, the routine, the rules, the patterns, or whatever. So here we go. Food is basically some chicken korma. Having a bit of anxiety eating the chicken, but honestly at the same time I wasn't really crazy about eating it anyway. So maybe I'll have one thing of chicken and some rice. So anxiety right now on a scale of 1 to 100. I just recap what I'm doing. I see what my anxiety is on a scale of 1 to 100. Do my anxiety, do things that makes me anxious, and then see how my anxiety level is after the exposure, or whatever they call it an exposure. Basically, what you do that makes you fear, right? The thing that makes you scared. So rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 100. For the rice, it's like 20. For the chicken, it's like 25. So let's go with 25. And go with the chicken, obviously, because I just like getting rid of the anxiety as fast as possible. So I'm going to do the exposure. So the chicken, the anxiety was 25, and I went down easily to 10. And the anxiety with the rice was, I think it was 20. Honestly, I feel it's around 15. So, you see what happens is when you stay with the anxiety and do the thing you're scared to do, you actually feel better. There goes my fork. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I was gonna eat some chips, but I might eat them later in the day. And if I do eat them later in the day, I'll make another video about me eating those. Because any major meal, you know, besides like bits of cheese here and there, like a muffin or like, not a muffin, but like a cupcake or something, I want to document it to just see how I'm feeling. So, what I'm going to do now is kind of like the blog part of the video where I kind of see where my negative thoughts are coming from. It's kind of like a talk therapy thing for me where I kind of just try to figure out, well, basically, why am I making these videos? Like, what is so important about making these videos? Like, what benefit can be reached from them besides the obvious benefit of ranking your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 100 and doing the thing that makes you feel anxious, and then watching your anxiety level. And hopefully it will come down most of the time. I've seen it come down. As I've been doing this for the past month, I've seen it come down, I want to say 95% of the time. Okay? This is because I'm, you know, very familiar with phobic disorders and disorders having to deal with excessive, not only phobias, but ruminations where you're doing things over and over again. Sorry, I gotta do my laces. Anyway, sorry guys, you can tell it's a very professional video. So, phobic disorders, phobic thoughts, ruminations, and mental disorders are basically, you know, a way of having one not deal with whatever it is that they should be dealing with. I mentioned in my last video that like choking on food is not necessarily the root cause of my problems. Like, it's not like that's what my brain is really trying to tell me to do, is, you know, watch out for choking on food. No, my brain is actually I don't know if it's subconscious or something, but I just realized that these thoughts come out, these huge layers of thoughts that come out that you can't even believe have anything to do with choking. Remember, I told you guys in my last video, for example, that I would think about like my friends abandoning me, right? And I kind of said, well, food is comfort, right? And when your friends abandon you, you are discomfortable or uncomfortable. Discomfortable is not a word. And when you do that, your brain acts in a weird way. Maybe to save you from the trauma and sadness of actually having to deal with, you know, something so sad as like your friends leaving you, or the death of a loved one, or moving, or these are major stressors, by the way, or, you know, having someone close to you, you know, moving on, breaking up, separation, divorce. You realize it actually has nothing to do with food. Food is just how the brain is telling you, maybe in the nicest way possible, so that you guys don't, so that the brain doesn't have to like overburden you, and almost maybe like as a defense mechanism, is saying, well, you're uncomfortable, and I'm too scared to actually open up why you're uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna say, you know, don't do something that could make you more comfortable, because I'm trying to tell you that you're uncomfortable. And of course, I saw the link about food is comfort. So, and again, these links are found through basically doing videos, journals, thought records, where you basically write your thoughts down, like diary entries, track your anxiety and your thoughts, put your thoughts on trial. And also they can be done through a mental health professional who can help you, you know, because they work on this day in and day out. They know the tricks the brain makes and what you really need to do to get better. I'm really, really tired right now. I'm not entirely sure why. I went to sleep around 2, so I'm waking up now and I'm still just like, I still need to have my Coke, or I'm just gonna be so tired. So basically, try to be mindful of that, not just the fact that you're doing your anxiety and you're very brave for doing it, and how great you guys are for facing your fears, but also trying to, once that initial fear goes down after about a couple weeks, you realize that your behaviors begin to become more highlighted in your brain. You begin to highlight more behaviors. It's called like being more mindful, I think. When you start, your brain tries, like almost, it's a black and white world of anxiety, and when you start facing it, your brain starts coloring up different things that you would do. And once you realize those, you think, well, I've seen these a million times before, what I'm doing, my routines, but what's different? Your brain is trying to tell you there's something different now. It's acting different. It's saying thank you for opening up to this idea that it's not food that you're necessarily afraid of, even though you are, but that you're more, afraid of maybe abandonment, not being loved. Stuff like that, right? The big questions that no one wants to talk about, the questions that cause, crying and big bucks to the therapists, because we are a bit inadequately prepared or equipped to deal with these thoughts, because they are so overwhelming. No one really knows, because every person, is so lonely to have something that's ill, and it's unique. It's not like a liver you can just transplant. Like brain transplants, you would end up getting major, I believe, personality shifts, and so people feel very alone when their unique brain starts malfunctioning, and they think, well, no one's going to be able to fully understand it. And I believe no one will be able to fully understand it, but there are people who can come pretty damn close. You know what? At that point, I would take it or leave it, because those people know what they're doing. So, quick aside about good and bad psychologists. What are the hallmarks of a good psychologist? Hallmarks of a good psychologist is that they listen, okay? That they challenge you and basically tell you to do things you shouldn't be doing, that you should be doing but you're not doing. And they help you with, as I said before, getting the thoughts out that you didn't know you really were thinking about. And they help you with like relaxation techniques. And they're always on time. They're never really late. And they maintain a very professional relationship. And they know exactly why you're seeking their help. And it's a bonus if the people who past their former clients are also similarly in terms of diagnosis, have the same diagnosis as you do. So, these are important things to keep in mind. Hallmarks of a bad psychologist or psychiatrist: they're in a rush, they always cut you off, so they're not listening. They have no idea why you're speaking to them. Why are you seeking help? Is it for like a diagnostic clarification? Is it to help with goal setting? Is it to help with trauma? Is it to help with choking, right? Phobia, whatever. It's just kind of a bit like trauma. Is it to help with thought records? The worse the psychiatrist or psychologist, the less clued in they would be as to what exactly you're seeking their help for. Because it's easy just to give general advice about psychology, anyone can do that. But to actually have a technical understanding of it, of what exactly a axis 1 disorder is, or whatever they call it, they have different names for it. They should know these things, and they should apply them to their patients. I remember this one psychologist was calling a person, I think right, E or D. Person E, he seems like an okay guy. First time I met him, I was like, okay, I'm getting help. Eventually, though, after the first session, I just didn't really feel like we gelled. I said, you know what, maybe it's just my social anxiety, and I have this stuck-up attitude where maybe I think I'm better than everybody else, or I don't know. He's not gonna understand where I'm coming from culturally because he wasn't from the same culture as I was. He was like white, and I was I'm not from Pakistan, but that's a culture that also comes to play, as I mentioned before, about the jinn and everything. So it's good to have a psychologist that knows about your specific culture and the struggles your specific culture has. So I kind of, after 2 or 3 sessions, after about I think the second session, I realized that he didn't really know what we were talking about in terms of like where we were going, what we were going to do, what was our like, why I was coming to seek his help and treatment. And what was he saying? He was like, is it because you're choking, or is it because you want to go back to school, or is it because you want to get help get back on disability? And I was like, I'm not sure. You're the psychologist. You tell me the best things I should be focusing on, right? And it just didn't feel right. And there's one time where I think it was our first session. This kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. No pun intended. Where like he was late. I mean, he wasn't late, but I came on time. He said like 5:30 or whatever, or came on time. And his secretary's like, "Oh, you're not I forget what she said, like, oh, you're not." I think she called my psychologist then, right? And said, "Oh, he's here." So he's like, "Oh." And he comes out and says, "Oh, I meant to reschedule for 2 hours from now, for 7:30. I was like I told him, like, why didn't you, like, you could have called. He's like, "Oh, I think he said, like, I think my secretary called," or he said, yeah, I don't know what he said, but it was just so stupid, like how he just said, "Oh, it's gonna be 2 hours more." Like, he's like, "Can you come back?" I'm like, I'm coming from Milton." He's like, "Do you want to, reschedule?" I was like, "No, I've taken time off from my work, and this is the time we agreed on." And I just kind of had this bad feeling. Like this bad, not feeling, but like this, you know what I mean? This guy's like my psychologist. He's supposed to be there for me. He's like, "Can you wait 2 hours with someone else?" And it's just like, it's not very nice, man, when we agreed on this time the week before. So, sorry, I'm just doing my laces, So, after I waited 2 hours, basically in the Tim Hortons parking lot, right? Watching My Little Pony. It was a pretty good show, but I digress, I guess. Going back to what I'm saying, when I finally saw him, he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry for this. Are you okay?" And I was like, he should know. For someone that has a disorder like this, OCPD, they like deadlines that are met. If someone says they're going to meet me at 2, I don't like it when they come at 2:05. It's annoying. And the later it gets, the more annoying it gets. It's nice at least he told me I'm going to be there in 2 hours. He could have just, not even been there and just, I don't know. It's just so annoying. So that's the good and bad. And the hard truth is, unless you have money, you're not going to see a nice psychiatrist. You're going to see a government psychiatrist, or you're going to have to pay out of your pocket. Really, like for me, I don't make a lot of money, so I wasn't paying him a lot of money. And it wasn't, I would say, like, I didn't learn anything from it. All I learned was that my religion has a different framework of understanding psychology than, I guess, his understanding of psychology. And I was going to say versus his psychological basis or framework. We have to understand there are people who have different frames of psychology. There's different schools of psychology, right? Freudian and I don't know, there's other ones, right? It's not like psychology is this monolithic, thing. At least as far as I know. What I'm trying to say is that when we were talking, he seemed to just put his own prejudices and cultures ahead of what I was trying to say, and didn't really understand that. Yeah, I'm from Canada. I was born here, and I subscribe to that culture. At the same time, now I live with some people who have influenced me to a certain extent, where I have been informed, you would say, of the different psychological ideas that my culture and my religion also talk about, so yeah, again, exposure response prevention is not good. Now I'm going to open up a little bit more about things that I really shouldn't be opening up about, but I just think it's good because I had a short exposure. I basically do things sometimes I'm not proud of. For example, let's just call it Vice A. It's not illegal, and the harm it does to others is minimal. The harm it does to me is, I would say, moderate. As long as I stick with my anxiety videos and facing my fears, I think I'll be okay. Basically, I, like to sometimes maybe relax a little bit more than I should be. And I feel shame after I do this. I also feel guilt in a way, like remorse, like I shouldn't be doing this. This is not what good people do. At the same time, I feel like, what's the harm in sometimes doing this stuff that just helps me calm myself and relax? And I mentioned in my previous videos how some doctors have recommended it. Like, it's a vice. It's, in my religion, it's forbidden unless for medical reasons, unless like a doctor has said do it. And we have really strict rules on what counts as a doctor in my religion. It has to be someone who follows the same faith as I do, or is at least familiar with the rules of my faith. And they have to, say you basically can benefit from doing this. And, so it's a bit complicated. So it's basically, that's the rules. And I feel guilty when I break the rules. I'm not a very good rule breaker. I used to be in high school. I used to break all the rules. I used to drink and drive. Used to drive high. Used to speed. Didn't give a crap. Went through left turns, red lights. Not red lights, but I used to go through a lot of left turns and it was red. I got caught once. That wasn't fun. And that was before the ages of cell phones. If there were cell phones when I was growing up, probably on the cell phone as well. And if I would be, I'd probably get into a car accident. Probably. 99% of the chance. Because cell phones are so distracting nowadays. And if you mix cell phones with alcohol and weed and speed, there's a 9 out of 10 chance at least that you're going to get into an accident. So thank God for that. But basically, I feel guilty nowadays doing it because it's like, I shouldn't be. I know I'm so much better than it in terms of I think more clearly when I don't do it, but I also feel less stressed out when I do it. And that's like it's like one of those things. It's like having to do with, at least this is what I'm thinking, homosexuality and Islam, right? Islam, you have this one worldview and you follow it. You've seen good, pious Muslims, sincere Muslims. Other view is of people that are like, my homosexuality. And you see people who are completely proud of their homosexuality and they're not ashamed of it at all. They want to bring it up all the time. I get sucked into both views, and I know one view is better than the other. At the same time, it's just really hard because, you can't just like ignore your feelings for these people, these your people in a way. I call them my people, the homosexual people, the LGBT people, and to actually find a middle ground between Islam and homosexuality is really hard because how do you find it? Like, we're there are gay imams, but like really. End of the day, my psychologist recommended you just be a good person. He said, you are a good person. And all the religions basically say, be a good person. He recommended I be spiritual but not religious. I tried that for a bit, but it really didn't make any sense to me. I ended up just going on the wrong path. Like, it was probably the lowest part of my life. I just said, I'm spiritual but not religious. And I realized how just demonic that idea was because it goes against what religion really is. Religion is about, hunger and patience and inculcating these virtues. And to say you're spiritual but not religious is just a cop-out of saying, well, I subscribe to something good, but I don't really put any effort into caring about it. It seems demonic in a way to me. It was good in the beginning. That's my philosophy, where I believe if something is good in the beginning and then it ends up being bad, it's demonic. If something is bad in the beginning and ends up being good, it's angelic. That's what my belief is. So that just comes from me learning about my religion more. So as I said, and then at the same time when I go downtown, I feel the same, almost in a way, happiness about my anxiety, about my choking phobia, about just being accepted around people. Plus, there's the whole dating element. In Islam, there's no dating. So it gets really complicated in terms of what exactly I want to do, and there's no one really who I can model myself after. Like, which sounds bad, because Muslims are supposed to have their model as to be the Prophet Muhammad, right? Peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. But, I mean, not but, in the same vein, you know, he, let's be honest, he is known as the perfect human being, and he was not in any way attracted to men. So it makes me think, am I less perfect because of this? But then I think, well, God made me this way. He didn't make mistakes, and God is good. So it gets really confusing, because then people say it's a struggle, and other people say, no, be proud of it. It's not a struggle. It's who you are. It's like white on rice. You know, it's who you are. Just accept it already and stop being in the closet. I guess the whole concept becomes, then what does acceptance mean? Is acceptance different than tolerance? What is unity? What is creating a community? What is sexism and racism? Again, these are questions I really don't have the answers to, and that's the hard part about it. No one really has the answers to them. They're just kind of there, and if someone has an answer to them, well, that's great. But at the end of the day, these are the hard questions, the existential questions, the questions of being, who you are, and no one has the answers except the being who you're speaking about, which is me. Right? And we're taught to subject our beings to, you know, God. It gets very complicated. So that's that. What else? Hope you guys are doing your calming exercises. I don't really do them as much. I just try to like remain calm throughout the day. But I know there are times where I could probably benefit from them, like that day, Friday. That was probably the worst day in a long period of time in my life. Having to deal with a rejection letter from my disability office. It really just made me feel really crummy, really sad. I was suicidal. I was crying almost non-stop for like a good 20 minutes. And it was good that I reached out to these people who, there's different, if you're in Canada, type in suicide, right? One of the first links you'll find is a Canadian, you know, national phone line to help people who basically have trouble, like who want to kill themselves. And one of the things I've noticed about when you talk to them, there's also a chat feature. They say you're very brave, because a lot of things is you shouldn't suffer in silence. If you have suicidal thoughts, right, and you have a plan of suicide, go to the doctor, go like the emergency room. If you just have suicidal thoughts and you're feeling pretty depressed, but you don't really have a plan, it's best to call a hotline, or else it will become into a plan. You will engage in substance behavior, self-harm behavior, and behavior that is maladaptive in terms of its coping mechanisms. And when you do that, well, it's not good. Basically gonna end the video here, because I can't really think of anything else to talk about, and so I'll end it here. Remember, guys, stay with it.